Little E-clip is off. There's your these are flanged up, I guess, to help it pass easier. Alright. Another picture while I've got that off. Taking lots of good pictures. Figured out which side was which. It was hard. I thought this part went with that part, but I had way too many gears, so I've investigated. And this is my time side right here. The great wheel. This is the second wheel. Turns your little Pac-Man. Third wheel. So you can see it's this wheel, this wheel. Round movements are hard to hang on to. This wheel, the center wheel, it's got the minute hand arbor wheel next to it, and this little guy right here. Those are your 4 strike side, time side, excuse me. That's your time side. Okay, and so then the strike side, the time comes around. I think I'm turning it the wrong way. Your lift lock lever. Well, let me reset it. Okay. Lift lock lever gets pushed up. That falls down. And without your snail, it falls all the way down. And then your strike side is over here. Bringing everything back up. And then it locks. There's 2. You'll notice this is a split, kind of like a cuckoo clock. There's 2 on a cuckoo clock, but they're closer together. This is pretty far split apart. This one lifts up off the cam to trigger everything, and this one hits this part of this arm and makes this lever move over so your piece can fall down. And that's when it comes out of warning. Now it's ready to run. So all of these parts are working well. I'm just going to wiggle everything and check all my bushings before I start taking this apart. This one is the big culprit. Right here. It's really not moving much, so that's good. I'm going to check all these other ones. It looks like all of my pivots are moving side to side, all the way up to the tiny ones up top, so I'll be putting bushings front and back. And I had to stop and watch a couple people's YouTube videos on this Hermle movement. 132-071. It looks like this was the movement that was put in a lot of different brands of clocks. I know the Howard Miller clock, Just Mike, had the same movement. There's a Sewills, S-E-W-I-L-L-S clock. It's ship's clock, has the same movement in it. And Just Mike's clock, I noticed I had a hole here and no spring, so I thought something was missing. And maybe that was why my end wasn't actuating properly to make it ding just one time on the half hour, an odd number of times on the half hour instead of even. And his clock had a spring here, but there was a post that it was attached to. I don't have a post, so I found another video, and the newer movements they had changed, and there was no spring on this, and there was also no spring on this that I could see. They changed that also. So your movement may be a little bit different, but this spring and this spring are on all of them. So I think I am ready to take these things off the front now. Probably had too small. A little bit. These do not want to come off. They are hard to see. There we go. First few times I took these off, they would go flying. Magnetic, a little bit of magnetism on your screwdriver helps a lot. So no spring on those two. This one has a spring here. And this one has this type of spring. So there's the levers off. These wheels lift off. That one has a clip on it. I'll take a little picture. In the one video I watched, one of these posts was bent, and I don't think the person that was doing the clock had addressed it. From one angle that they showed a picture it, you could really tell one of them was bent out, and that's going to affect the movement on that lever controlling your strike hammer. Those all seem to be the same size, so that's good. And they seem to be pretty straight up and down. Maybe a little bit angled out on one. Looks like one of mine's angled out. Okay, I'm going to take this off, and these These are loose already, but these and this can hold this plate on. I think I'm gonna just leave these two on, the hurricane symbol and the Pac-Man. They should get clean with the ultrasound. But with leaving them on, if I lift this plate, the gears are, this gear is at the very bottom. It's going to disrupt everything, so I'm going to turn it over this way and try to lift it off and see if it'll come off and leave it without disturbing much. And that worked out nicely. It doesn't always. Okay, time for a couple more pictures because I'll be putting this back together upside down, it looks like. Alright, time side coming off. This has a little E-clip. I could take this wheel off. So tiny. The little gears are just, there's a bunch of them. Which really down regulates your pressure from your spring to your tiny little platform escapement. This is your wheel with the warning pin at the bottom of it. Who's gonna come off first? Let's see. This one is the Pac-Man one. It's not going to come off. So we'll see if we can slip that out from under. There's the warning pin one. There's your double strike system for your bell. Ding ding, space, ding ding, space, ding ding. Alright, well, if I'm going to do bushings, I'm going to have to get these off. Definitely the wheel off, which is nice that it's got that little thing to take it off. Okay. Alright, I took the little E-clip off of there. There's a spring underneath there.
Yeah, that's one.
And a little tiny washer to hold the spring down. This little Pac-Man is high enough up to easily get the gear puller up underneath there. So that is next. Put the little screw on the pivot sticking up. Maybe with that lift wire right there, it makes it interesting, but looks like it's going to hold right there. Bending my wire out a little bit. Well, I'm going to try something else. got my 2 bent screwdrivers. That's much better. Much easier. Alright, so this goes to the strike side. Time side is all that's left. And we're going to work around that. Okay, off to the cleaner and then some bushings. I'm going to work on these springs while my solution is heating up. This cap comes off. So if I hit this side, it should push the cap off. I had a piece of wood. I don't know what I've done with it. There we go. The number's about across from the catch. Sometimes there's a little cutout. You can put a screwdriver in there and pop these off. This one does not have that, so we used the spring itself to push the top plate off. It's coned up. That's not a good sign. These look pretty good, oiled. And then it's caught on the little tab right there. So you just push it toward it and it'll slide to the bigger end and come off. And these should just turn backwards and come out. Hard to do with a glove on. I'll get that out in a minute. Alright, this is the strike side. I did scratch a little S and a little T on each one so I would know which was which. See, this one is not ballooned up in the air. It's nice and flat. The other one was arched up, which means your spring may have some damage to it. This one looks like a different spring than the other one. The other one's more coppery colored. This one's more stainless steel colored, goldish looking. But they did add different numbers on them, so maybe they had different strengths, different metals. Alright, so these are ready to be cleaned. Typical day in the clock repair world. I got this cleaned. I got the bushings put in. I did not do all of them. I did 2 on the strike side and 1 on the time side, because the ones I was putting in, there was just as much, a little bit of movement. The pivot holes are so tiny, so I wasn't improving anything, so I left the rest of them the way they were. So I got my gears on the front and my levers on the front, and was kind of trying to adjust. There's one part to set up, and it's the same as the other Hermle movement that I worked on. You set up this little kidney bean shaped piece with the pin sticking out of it that climbs and pulls your rack back up. You have to time it with where your warning pin is and your shutoff lever. And the little pin on mine got bent when I was trying to remove it with the gear pullers, instead of using these from the get-go, because it came off very easily with these without damaging anything on the top. It was all underneath pushing up. So anyway, I was adjusting it. It was hanging up. It wasn't straight. It was getting hung in the rack, wouldn't let the rack drop. And so I broke it off, which I'm pretty sure I did. If you go back and watch my other Hermle repair video for the clock that I got from my mom, I'm pretty sure I broke that one off too. So just know that they do break off pretty easily, apparently, because I've done 2 Hermles and broken them both times. But it is not hard to fix them. If you don't want to fix them, you can go on the website, Hermle's clock repair parts, and order a new little kidney bean with a little stick sticking out of it. You just type in your movement number, and all the parts that are available will pull up. But the quick fix that I do is I look in my little box of pins from India that's got 500 million sizes in there, and there's some little tiny ones that I'm never going to use, and guess what? I needed to use them. I get one, clip it in my hemostats, and just start hammering it in. And if you put it over a little hole like this, when you hammer it in, it forces out the old one out the bottom. The little piece that broke off will come right out the bottom, and your new one will go in, and you'll have a new one. You can cut it off however long you want. So it's easy to fix. So I'm going to get this put back, and then get all the front of the clock put back on again. So the little kidney bean's fixed. There's a new peg in it right there. And I loosely set it on the gear that's going to be 1, 2, 3. So the strike side 3rd gear comes through, and that's what the little kidney bean piece goes on that's got your pin on it. I set it on there loosely. Look underneath and see where your warning pin is on your 4th gear, and put it kind of straight back, or pointing to the right, because it's going to come forward. So I put the little kidney bean on there loosely. It's not pushed down yet. I set this gear on. The pin that's on this gear that goes through is going to hit your warning pin to shut off your mechanism. Sorry, yeah, I had you up in the air there. The part that sticks through here is what catches on your 4th wheel warning pin there to shut off everything. But also, if you look underneath, there's a lever, there's a little pin that sticks down right in the middle of this. That's also going to shut off on the kidney bean right there. The little cutout in the kidney bean, that locks into there. At the same time, that has to go in there to let this part go over far enough to catch your warning pin. So I set that on there. I set that kind of backwards. The pin kind of pointing to my right, and the kidney bean kind of pointing towards me. I put the lever on there, and I find the spot where the pin that hangs down goes into the kidney bean and locks tight. And then I just activate my strike side. Since I don't have the kidney bean pushed on there tight, as I push the strike side around, it's adjusting where that kidney bean is automatically. and it will shut off when it is supposed to. Then when you find the right spot, you can take this out of the way, push your kidney bean down tight, and you're all set. Put my levers back on and the little gears down here. As I was setting it up, I made sure that this little pin wasn't going to hang up in my rack and keep it from falling. And then I made sure where this piece was going to fall on here, and also where these two pins were. So I went back and looked at my pictures to make sure for the half hour how far away this pin needed to be from this arm, and set it up from there. So far it's striking like I want. So this will be the half hour strike. I know my hand's not there. Get this out of the way. So it'll fall at the beginning of that, and this little thing should be in a gap so that the arm can fall down. The end of this arm needs to be under the piece on the bell that it has to catch, come up and catch. So there's warning. So see how the pin comes up to push that up all the way? It's going to be pushing it up over that arm for the hour. The hour is the second place it hits on the flat spot. So I'm going to put the rest of the pieces on the outside. There's only a couple more, and put it in the case to test it. I was trying it before I put it in the case because it doesn't make much sense to put it in the case and take it back out. So I got enough parts on. I got my shut-off lever on. Right here it flips enough to stop the fan from striking. And if you watch the hammer, it comes to about this little pivot hole right here when it's striking. And watch this little arm right here catch the bar on the half hour one. So see, it stopped way up there instead of coming down here. So it did catch it and keep it from being able to make sound on the half hour. So it would have gone an odd number of strikes. So here's the hour. This should do 4, but on the 4th one it'll catch it. And it's catching it. So it should strike the right number of times for the hour and the half hour. So I think we are ready to put it back. Well, I've still got to put the platform back on. And the slow, fast speed adjustment for that. But that was just a couple of screws. Alright, here's my test. Should strike one time. Two times for 1 o'clock. Three times 1:30. So far so good. 4 times. 5 times. Six times, 3 o'clock. 7 times. And 8 times for 4 o'clock. And then it starts over. 1 time, 4:30. Current time is 5:33. So I'm ready to put my face back on and let it run and see if my speed, like how much I got it off. The little adjuster is very variable. I tried to put it where it'd kind of be in the center where I could go faster or slower on my platform escapement. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And when I looked up the movement for replacing an entire movement is about $600 now to buy this movement. So I saved a lot of money working on it myself. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave me some comments, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Keep coming back.